Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the webinar. We're just going to hang on for a minute or two before we start. Right, I think we'll kick off. So, good morning, everybody. Hello, welcome to today's webinar hosted by Nuvola Distribution with our vendor partner Adaptiv Networks. My name is John Allen. I work in business development at Nuvola, and with me is Adrian Tate from Adaptiv and Tony Coombs from Nuvola, who will be doing the demo towards the end of the session. But before I hand over to Adrian, I just want to tell you a little bit about Nuvola, what we do and where Adaptiv sit in our vendor portfolio.
Can you hear me, John?
Yeah.
I can't get this to page down, I'm sorry. Hold on. Can you try page down? Ah.
There we go.
There we go.
Back one. So at Nuvola, we have a range of vendor partners, really who are all complementary to each other. We carry a range of the latest UCaaS providers, including 8x8, RingCentral and NFON. We carry in our Intelligent Networks division, we have networking products, we have Garland, we have Live Action, and this is where Adaptiv Networks sit. Unified Communications is where we have Alcatel-Lucent, both networking and enterprise. Professional services, all our solutions that we sell are really backed up by professional services. This has been where Nuvola Distribution has come from, but we aim to offer you, the resellers, the opportunity to sell these products, but backed up by full professional services if you require them. And then finally, we have meeting room solutions, obviously well used in education, and when people are back in the offices. But we have a full range of vendors, all of which are linked, and Adaptiv really sit at the core and bridge between our UCaaS and CCaaS vendors and providing a stable solution. So with that, I'll hand over to Adrian to go through the presentation.
Thank you very much, John, and good morning, everybody. Thank you for taking the time out to join us this morning. We do have quite a packed schedule, so I will be talking at pace to make sure that I get through everything. Just to explain a little bit about Adaptiv Networks. So we are relatively new to the SD-WAN marketplace outside of North America, but we're not new to it in North America. We're a Canadian headquartered business, and we've been selling into the North American market for 10 years or more. So we are an experienced organization with some good track record and history. But my responsibility is to grow the presence of Adaptiv Networks internationally, and particularly in Europe and also in Asia Pacific. It's a very crowded space, the SD-WAN marketplace. So if you're going to break into it now, you've got to have a unique message. And this is our unique message. We are bringing amazingly simple, reliable, and affordable cloud connectivity to the SD-WAN marketplace. We're targeting the small and medium business sector. And I mean that both in terms of partners, but also in terms of customers. The majority of SD-WAN vendors are targeting specifically at the enterprise marketplace. This is what makes us different. We've designed this solution to fit to the SME marketplace. So what are you going to learn from this webinar? So we have a mix of attendees here. Some people have a networking background and will be very familiar with what SD-WAN is. Others of you are very much in the telephony world and the hosted voice and may not be as familiar with SD-WAN. You may have heard the buzzword, but you may not really understand what it means. So I hope those of you who already know about SD-WAN will bear with me whilst I go through a few slides just explaining what SD-WAN is all about, before we move on to looking at how the Adaptiv solution works and the use cases for selling the Adaptiv solution as a managed service by yourselves. So this is what you should hopefully be able to tick off at the end of the presentation in terms of the knowledge that you have gained from this webinar. So what are the business drivers around SD-WAN? Why are people getting so excited about SD-WAN? It's been talked about now for 3 or 4 years, but in the last 12 to 18 months, I would suggest it has really started to penetrate and to start being implemented. Prior to that, people were educating themselves about it, but not really implementing it. But there's 3 business drivers really underpinning SD-WAN and why people are so keen on it. And Adaptiv is addressing the first and the third business driver here in terms of cloud adoption and network cost reduction. So the fact that so many organizations now are moving to the cloud, both for their applications, but also for their infrastructure, and traditional networks like MPLS do not support cloud applications. It has to be internet connectivity to those cloud services. And so SD-WAN is a technology that has grown up to solve that problem of giving more reliable internet access to cloud services. On the network cost reduction side, it's debatable whether SD-WAN actually does deliver cost savings. I've worked for a number of the SD-WAN providers in the past, and I know when you're talking about the larger organizations, their price points are quite high, and it's incredibly difficult to demonstrate cost savings to your customers. But you'll be pleased to know that with the Adaptiv solution, with the fact that we're targeting SMB, we can help you build a business case that demonstrates cost savings with SD-WAN versus traditional networking costs. The third pillar, the branch networking simplification, we don't really focus in that area. That's really about coming out with universal CPEs, the customer premise equipment that will handle things like routing and WAN optimization and firewall security and SD-WAN all in one device. So that's what we mean by branch network simplification. Yes, we do some of that, but we're not really targeting that. That's much more for the enterprise world where they potentially have 4 or 5 devices sitting in every branch and they want to consolidate that into one device. So we can do some of that, as I say, but we're not really focused on that. It's drivers 1 and 3 here. In terms of a definition of SD-WAN, if you were to Google it, you would find many, many definitions, a lot of them very technical. So I like the one here that I've highlighted because it does build on business value, business benefits. So, I've highlighted the key words in yellow here. But I like this definition because it's one that you can take to your customers and be selling value based on this. But it's basically what it's saying is that we are going to give your customers the most secure, reliable and performant network, but using lower cost internet connectivity that has fewer SLAs and much less reliability. We are going to bring that to those internet links using SD-WAN, and in the process, we're going to save money for the customer. So as I mentioned, there are a lot of SD-WAN vendors in the marketplace, and the way we view it is that there are perhaps 4 quadrants or categories of vendor. And you'll be familiar with a lot of these names. And as you will see, I'm sure immediately you'll recognize the names on the top right: Cisco, Silver Peak, Juniper, those sorts of names. And you'll have spotted, I'm sure, Adaptiv here at the top left. So, when we look at the vendors in the marketplace, and this is a subset of them, probably the better known ones, but nonetheless, a subset of the vendors that are out there. But the ones on the right-hand side, and I include this product Elfiq, which is a product that we own. So we do have a play in the enterprise space, but it's not something that we're focusing on with this presentation. But these solutions are designed for large enterprise where they want to retain some element of their MPLS networks alongside bringing in internet and cloud as well. The drawback of these solutions is that they are not multi-tenanted. So they're not ideal for service providers like yourselves, where you want to manage multiple of your customers through a single portal for this type of technology. With these enterprise solutions, it's one environment per customer. And so they rely on the fact that most of these customers are large enough that they would want to self-manage their own SD-WAN network rather than have it outsourced to a third party. You then have the vendors that are focused very much on carriers. So people like Versa Networks, Infovista, Nuage Networks, they will sell through the big carriers, the likes of the BT Global Services, Vodafone, Orange Business Systems, Verizon, AT&T, these sorts of big carriers who want to have a play in the SD-WAN marketplace, if only to make sure that they can retain control of their customers and therefore retain the MPLS revenue that is so profitable to them. So those vendors have got extremely capable SD-WAN solutions, but their primary focus is to service the carriers who are their customers ultimately. We then have security vendors making a play in the SD-WAN marketplace, people like Fortinet, Palo Alto, but really you have to look at what motivates them. What really motivates them is selling more of their firewalls at the edge, at the branch office. And so by introducing additional capability into their firewall operating systems that will handle performance and management of the network, that is an enhancement to that firewall and therefore increases their sales. So they do have SD-WAN capability, and when you link it in with the firewall security functionality, then it's a very strong solution for those customers where big network firewalls at the branch are essential. And then you have the area where Adaptiv Networks fits. So with our technology, we are offering what's called an over-the-top network as a service. So Adaptiv's SD-WAN is sold as a managed service. And it would be similar to, if you've heard of these companies, AsiaPac, Tate Networks, where the edge device at a branch office will connect to a cloud gateway managed and owned by these vendors here. And then from that point on, the vendor is managing a core network to transport the packets, to transport the data around that core network, and then to break it out at the gateway that is closest to the destination branch that the traffic is being sent to. So this is designed really for the small and medium enterprise company. These are companies that don't have MPLS or do have MPLS but plan to move away from it in its entirety, and they want to become internet and cloud centric. So tends to be small and medium enterprises. They rely on broadband or other types of internet connectivity. They don't have the IT teams to manage this. They want to find a trusted advisor like yourselves who can help manage the SD-WAN on their behalf. And they don't want to pay big upfront CapEx expenditure. They don't have deep pockets like the enterprise organizations. So they're looking for an OpEx service from you. So some very different focuses for all of these vendors. You may see I've put VeloCloud up there at the top because they do bridge the two types of quadrant there, but mainly because VeloCloud is owned by VMware, where they have an eye on the larger enterprise. As you can imagine, their price point is quite significant. So I hope that helps to pigeonhole where Adaptiv fits with its solution. And so if you do find yourselves competing and these vendor names are mentioned, you will know whether you're competing against sort of appropriate types of vendors or whether it's inappropriate. We really shouldn't find ourselves in a competitive battle with Palo Alto or with Versa or with Silver Peak or Juniper. We shouldn't be there. We might find ourselves competing with the likes of an AsiaPac or a Tate. So just to re-emphasize, in terms of the market focus with the Adaptiv SD-WAN as a service solution, we are focusing on the small businesses and the mid-market. The LFEEC solution is focusing on the enterprise for us. So we are as interested in single sites organizations as we are in 5 sites, 10 sites, or even 100 sites. And we do have an organization in Canada, which is the Ontario Lottery and Gaming Board. That's the state lottery, which has hundreds of Adaptiv Network sites. So we can support those very large organizations, but we are focusing very much on organizations probably with an employee count of less than 1,000 and therefore numbers of offices ranging, I would suggest, between 1 and 20 would be quite normal. But our solution is applicable for home office, for schools, local professional services like solicitors, doctors, estate agents, small retail like cafes. This is the sort of target market that we're going after that we find that nobody else is targeting, which makes our solution quite unique. So we do have actually 2 services that we offer. One is called SD Internet as a service. The other is called SD-WAN as a service. They are both the same product, but they do have slightly different functionality switched on to accommodate the requirement. So SD Internet is for those organizations that are either single site or that only want to access public cloud applications. So we're talking about organizations with 1 site, as I mentioned before, so they don't have a wide area network. The only time they exit their internal local area network within their office is to go to some kind of internet or cloud service. And so they just need to manage and control the traffic going out of their office over the internet links to these services. So SD Internet is the managed service that handles that. And you will find that that is unique in the marketplace. Nobody else offers an SD Internet as a service. So it's very unique. The SD-WAN as a service, as I say, is exactly the same product running on the same hardware appliance at the branch edge, but we bring into play the security and encryption of the data. So the data will travel over the internet link through a tunnel, what's called an IPsec tunnel, and it is encrypted. And the traffic will traverse our core network and then break out to the destination branch office. And all that traffic is secure and encrypted, which is part of the requirement of SD-WAN solutions. So that is the only difference, is for site-to-site traffic, you need that security and resilience. So these are some of the key features that we have within our technology. So firstly, we will calibrate the links. So what that means is that we will send a lot of traffic across the links initially, flooding that link to find out at what throughput it performs best. Because it's not the case that you can always send the maximum amount of throughput through a link and get the best quality. So there's probably a trade-off there between the amount of throughput and the quality of that link. So that's what our calibration will do. It will identify what is the highest quality throughput on that link. Now you can override that, so it's not set in stone, but most people want quality over quantity. We also have the capability to aggregate the links. So if you have more than one internet link going out of your branch office, then we can aggregate the bandwidth across those 2 or 3 or up to 8 links. So giving much greater volumes of throughput for the traffic. We will also automatically and seamlessly fail over between links. This will be demonstrated later on this webinar, but basically what that means is that if you were on a video call or a voice call and the primary link was to fail, it would seamlessly fail over to the secondary link, and you as a user on that call would be none the wiser, nor would anyone else on that call. The call would remain up, it would remain visible and audible as well. We can steer packets over the different links, so we are sharing the traffic across the multiple links that you have available, and we are applying bi-directional quality of service to prioritize traffic for specific applications that you can specify. So voice and video would be typical applications that you might want to prioritize ahead of things like file downloads or email, and therefore ensuring the quality of your voice and video calls. I know we have a lot of telephony companies who've joined this webinar. This is ideal for the sort of service that you would be selling to your end customer. We can also break out non-important traffic from the edge appliance so that it doesn't go over the network, which is really important, as I will show you in some of the use cases coming up. And all of this can be managed centrally in a cloud management portal. So a lot of great functionality within this solution. So we sell this solution as a service, and it's paid for on an annual subscription basis. Now, within that service, you get all components that are required to make this service work. So a lot of companies will talk about subscription services, but they don't include the hardware appliance within that subscription. You and your customers still have to purchase the CapEx hardware appliance separately from the software subscription. But with Adaptiv, everything is included. So for the one single annual subscription fee, you get everything that you require to be able to provide this service to your customers. This is a diagrammatic visualization of the architecture. I don't want to get into this too deeply because it might be too complex for some of the people on the call, but basically what it's showing you here is that you have this edge appliance sitting at a branch office. That edge appliance will connect to the closest gateway that Adaptiv has. We don't have gateways everywhere in the world yet, but we do have them in Europe. We do have them in North America. So we can support sites in Europe, in the UK, and across the North American continent at this point in time with our gateways. And so when the traffic goes from the branch edge to the gateway, it will then traverse the core network that is controlled and managed by Adaptiv Networks, and it will then break out to the destination branch from the closest gateway to that branch, all managed through this cloud orchestrator that you can see at the top of the screen here. And this is these are the two devices that we have. We have the E40 and the E60. So there are different throughput thresholds with each of these devices, which you can see on the right-hand side. But basically, I'm yet to sell an E60 to a customer. Most people, 500 megabits per second at a small branch office is more than ample. So usually it's an E40 that is required at the branch office. Now, to give you an indication of size of that device, if you were to take a packet of cigarettes or 2 packets of cigarettes and put them side by side, that would be about the size of the E40. So it's a very small, compact device that can sit neatly in a home or in a small office, very unobtrusive, and just work away and provide the reliability and resilience and performance that you require from your internet connections. I'm just going to take a sip of water, just bear with me. Right. So I think this now is the really important part. If any of the rest of that has gone over your heads, I apologize, but hopefully I did keep it at a fairly high level. But I think the use cases are what are most critical from this whole presentation. So the first use case I want to talk about is really cloud services. We said UCaaS plus SD-WAN because I think that's the most commonly sold cloud service out there in terms of applications anyway. But this is hosted voice in a cloud. So cloud voice, it's unified communications as a service, it's contact center as a service. Really, you can apply it to anything, any service that is delivered from a cloud. But the main issue with UCaaS or any of these hosted voice solutions is that there's very little difference between any of them. I've just picked on 3 of the biggest UCaaS solutions out there in the market that most people know about. And when you look at the key functionality that most customers would have from a UCaaS solution, they all cover it. It's yes, 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 yes everywhere. And even if one of them did have a piece of functionality that the others didn't have, we're talking about tens of billion-dollar turnover organizations here, you can bet your bottom dollar that if one of their competitors had a piece of functionality, within 2 or 3 months, they would also have that functionality. So it's very difficult to differentiate yourselves on the capabilities of the application itself, because they all do pretty much the same thing. And what we found is when I talk to customers, it's far more basic than that. This is what's going on Teams calls, on Zoom calls, on any type of voice calls and video calls all of the time currently. People are saying, we can't hear you, your screen has frozen, you're breaking up, can you hear me? People are logging back in. This is the typical day-to-day experience of people on their voice and video calls. And when you speak to the IT leaders, their biggest concern is, well, does it work? We've invested in this technology. It better damn well work. I've put my neck on the block for this. Or how can we make it perform better? Or how can we provide it now for our home workers? Because we still need to be on these calls, but 80% of our employees are still working from home. And what's the common thread here? It's the network. It's the network that is affecting all of this. And there was an excellent article in Channel Vision magazine last summer, July, August, which talks about UCaaS and SD-WAN being the new power couple. And I've read a few of the paragraphs or sentences within the article just to highlight what they're saying about the connection between SD-WAN and UCaaS or cloud services. So I'll just pause for a moment in case any of you are trying to read through some of those paragraphs. Okay, so if you've managed to read some of them, and I'm sure you perhaps didn't get through everything on that article in that period of time that I gave you, but the message is loud and clear that the two go hand in hand, and it really is SD-WAN that is delivering performant UCaaS. So if you want to read this article, and I would strongly recommend that you do if you're interested in this use case, just Google Channel Vision July 2020 and it will come up, and this is on page 34 to about 36 or 37 in that magazine. And these are some of the data that is also in that article. So very interesting to see that when IT leaders were asked what were the most critical factors in their UCaaS and CCaaS deployments, top was data security, unsurprisingly. 95% of respondents said that it was critical or very important. But then second, with 93%, was, 91%, beg your pardon on my maths, 91% said network performance and reliability. So your customers see this as very important to their UCaaS implementations. And then if you look down at the bottom, you'll see that application performance came top of the measurement of success of the investment. So how does our UCaaS use case look? We call it Unbreakable. For most businesses, communications are critical, especially voice and video. I think I've labored that point enough during this webinar already. The problem is that last mile link from your branch office or your home office over the internet to the cloud service that is susceptible to the poor quality and bad links, packet loss, jitter, latency. The solution, well, with the Adaptiv Networks solution, if you are to put an Adaptiv Edge appliance into your customer's branch office, presumably they would have two links at least, one primary link and a backup link. I would imagine even a small office would have that level of resilience. And you can have the voice and video traffic going up through the IPsec tunnel that I referred to before to the Adaptiv gateway and out to the cloud voice service. You'll notice on the right-hand side that we're breaking out non-critical traffic, non-voice and video traffic from the edge appliance directly to the public cloud and internet. So this is reserving the link to send your most critical voice and video traffic. So that's a form of quality of service immediately, because we're separating out less critical traffic versus very critical traffic. But you can also apply quality of service rules to really prioritize the specific voice and video application traffic that is going up to our gateway. So that's how it would look in a typical implementation at a small branch office that is making use of some kind of UCaaS, CCaaS, cloud voice service. And if you look at over on the bottom left here, the sorts of benefits, we've talked about quality of service, the traffic, the link aggregation, being able to aggregate the bandwidth across those two links. So you've doubled the amount of bandwidth available, the seamless failover if the link drops, the sharing of the traffic over the links, etc., etc. Oh, and very important, actually, I was about to gloss over the last point, that the MSP has visibility into the performance and metrics on each and every link. Regardless of the ISP that is providing that link, you will have visibility into each and every link. So I wanted to give you an indication of the commercials, because I'm sure if you're interested in this, you are thinking, well, yes, but how much does this cost? Can I make this work for my customers? So for this type of service, we know that cloud services tend to be sold on a per user, per month basis. So we've come up with a pricing model in conjunction with Nuvola that sells this technology on a per user, per month basis also. So there is a minimum purchase of 10 users required, otherwise it's just not commercially viable for us, Nuvola, or yourselves. So it does need to be at least 10 licenses. So we sell that as a base license, which includes 10 users, and then you can add on additional users, as many as you require in single units. So you can buy 11, you can buy 12, 13, 14, blah, blah, blah. And of course, the price per user per month will vary depending upon the number of users that you are licensing. There is an upfront cost that can be paid for the device, for that small CPE appliance that I showed you. But again, with Nuvola, they give you total flexibility. So you can choose to pay zero upfront cost, right up to about, well, whatever the cost is of the unit. So you can decide that with Nuvola, you can negotiate with them, but obviously the higher the upfront fee that you pay, the lower the monthly price per user becomes. But as you can see, it's a very, very affordable price and would be a nice, simple upsell add-on for you to take to your customers that already have your cloud voice solutions and say, look, you know, you've been struggling with your internet connectivity from some of the branch offices, the quality's not been good, blah, blah. You know, how would you feel about having the Unbreakable internet option from us? And it will only cost you a few pounds per user per month to do so. So just to highlight, these prices I'm showing here are the price that Nuvola would be selling to you. So you would add your markup on this, but nonetheless, you'd still be charging a very affordable price to your customer. The second scenario I wanted to talk through is the traditional branch SD-WAN scenario. So this is where you have a wide area network, you have the requirement for site-to-site connectivity. Your legacy WANs, or your customers' legacy WANs, I should say, are too expensive. They're looking to save money, and they're looking to move to the cloud and the internet, and their existing WAN architecture is not suitable for that. That's where traditional SD-WAN comes in. The problem with this is the existing WAN designs are too inflexible. They're not agile enough, that they cost too much, and businesses can't afford that any longer. They want to make use of internet links that are cheaper, but they're unreliable. They don't have the same SLAs applied to them. They deliver a poor quality of experience. And it's very expensive just to have a passive backup link that you're not actually making use of. So this again is where SD-WAN comes in. I'm not going to spend too long on going through all of this diagram. I think it's pretty much similar to the one I showed you previously, other than we've got two sites here. So there is traffic going between the sites, traversing the adaptive core network, but all of the same advantages that we've spoken about previously. To give you an indication of pricing, and Nuvola will be very happy to share this with you, so you don't need to write it down or try and memorize it, but I wanted you to get a feel for it. So, you know, for something like SD Internet, the start price, or the pricing is based on the bandwidth tier at each location. So Adaptiv 15 being 15 megabits total bandwidth at a site. So if they've got two links, then that would be 15 meg across the two links. So that might be a bit too small for a lot of branch offices, but certainly 50 meg and 100 meg would be typical for a small branch office. So the annual subscription price coming in at £500 and just under £800 for those tiers is very, very reasonable. If you want SD-WAN, there is a slight higher tariff to pay, but again, not too significant, I don't believe. Still very affordable pricing for your customers. And then I want to talk about work from home. Now, there are two scenarios here. So there will actually be two use cases that I'm showing you, or two diagrams that I'm showing you. So the first one is where you want to offer the SD Internet and SD-WAN as a service that I've been talking about for the whole of this webinar. So what is the problem here? So many people now are working from home, as we're all very well aware, and we think that people will continue to do so on a part-time or permanent basis. So it's no longer acceptable to accept the poor internet connectivity from your home office, because it's not a once in a quarter situation that you're working from home. It could well be 40, 50, 60% of your week that you're working from home, and so you need much better internet connectivity. So this is the problem. The home broadbands are notoriously unreliable and deliver poor quality. You're competing against domestic traffic. We've all heard these stories of homeschooling and gaming and streaming of videos from various channels interfering with business tools and business applications. So that's a big problem. So the solution, again, with the Adaptiv solution, you can put one of the small E40 devices into somebody's home office. Usually they will just have the single broadband link, but they can have failover to a 4G, 5G link through an LTE modem connected into the Adaptiv Edge device. So this gives the seamless failover capability should the broadband go down, which I can vouch from my own broadband is quite often I will get a short outage, which will drop me off a call without my Adaptiv solution. But I'm working through the Adaptiv Edge appliance now at my home office to give me that level of resilience. So, what are we doing here? Firstly, we are calibrating the home line. So we are making it higher quality, as I described right at the beginning of this presentation about the calibration. So we're rate limiting the throughput to the highest quality for that link. We're also able to break out the non-business traffic from the edge device, as I've explained before. So all of this homeschooling, Netflix, domestic internet surfing, whatever it is, can be broken out at the edge. So it's not going up through that tunnel and interfering and contending for bandwidth with the business traffic. What else can I say about this? That's probably all I need to say. I think you probably will get the point here of what this is doing. So it's delivering higher quality, more reliable, resilient business traffic from your home office. Now, the challenge always seems to be the cost. People are always concerned, well, will businesses pay for this? Can they justify it? Well, usually with most SD-WAN solutions, no, they can't, because most of the larger companies are selling SD-WAN technology at a few $1,000s per CPE, and that's just too much money to pay for a home office setup. But with the Adaptiv solution, we charge this one-off fee regardless of the amount of bandwidth that somebody might have coming into their home office. We don't care about that. We want to make it simple, and we want to make it affordable. So the SD Internet Home Edition is £375 for a year. Price again to you. We're giving you your buy prices on all of these use cases. But Nuvola can also offer that on a monthly basis as well. And then SD-WAN is at £439. So, I think that's very affordable. You're looking at somewhere around £30 to £40 per month for a home SD-WAN setup. I think that's extremely viable for most small businesses. But then we have this final scenario for work from home, and it's a new product that we are bringing to the market within the next month. It's called MyConnect, and it's for people who work from home who need purely access to their corporate WAN. So this is not for people who need access to cloud services. It's just giving them access to the corporate WAN and applications that are on that corporate private network. Same problems that are impacted or resolved with this technology. But what is it? It's a subset really of the SD-WAN solution. It doesn't do everything that our SD-WAN and SD Internet as a Service does, but it does do quite a bit for perhaps the less critical home worker. So it might be that customer service and sales people who have to have top quality voice and video connectivity to do their jobs will have the platinum service, let's call it, from Adaptiv. But other people who are just working from home that are doing more of an administrative role within an organization that just need access to corporate applications could well get away with MyConnect. And what it is it's an application that runs on the laptop. So we no longer need the CPE, the E40 device that I've talked about. It will establish a secure tunnel to our gateway and encrypt the traffic. It will still condition the link going up to the gateway, but instead of quality of service, it's providing something called forward error correction, which, if you don't know what that is, and I have to admit I'm not exactly the expert on this, so I'm not going to try and explain it because I don't think I could do it in clear enough terms, but it's a form of quality of service that is duplicating packets for priority applications as and when required. That's the best I can do, I'm afraid. And the failover to the LTE backup in this scenario is not seamless. There is a drop of the call and then a re-establishment of that link, of the backup link. So the session drops and it has to be re-established, and that can take a few seconds. But that may not be critical for internal facing employees as much as it is critical for external facing employees, as I mentioned, like customer service and sales. So that's why MyConnect could well be a great option if you had a customer that said, well, we've got 200 people working from home. We can't afford to put in the Adaptiv SD-WAN as a service for all of those, but probably for 20 or 30, we do need that. But for the other 150 or so, MyConnect may well be the solution. And it comes in at a very, very low cost. It's £92 per year. So it's a very low cost. That's your buy price. So you could well be selling this to your customer at, say, £100 or £120 max per year, £10 a month, that sort of price. It's a very affordable rate. For that reason, we do say there is a minimum 10-seat purchase. Otherwise, it's almost not worth the hassle of processing a PO if you're selling it on single seat basis. So we do say there is a minimum requirement of a 10-seat purchase. So I'm getting to the end of my presentation now. This is the penultimate slide. So what else can Adaptiv offer to you? Well, we offer a lot of marketing support through our partner portal. So if you do become an Adaptiv partner through Nuvola, we will give you access to our partner portal. And in this partner portal, we have all sorts of things. We have lots and lots of marketing assets. So you can see here on the top right that I've just searched on cloud voice, and you'll see that we've got some videos there. We also have some white papers and product sheets, etc., that would help you sell this cloud voice solution. I've also searched bottom left on home office, and you can see that we've got an ebook, we've got an infographic, and we've got a product sheet as well. So lots of free literature and collateral that is available for you to use, so you don't have to spend time and money creating your own marketing literature. And when you download this, it will co-brand it with your logo and your contact details. So you will still have the Adaptiv logo there, but it will also have your logo on there and your contact details. So it's a very easy, ready-made service which will enable you to start selling this technology very, very quickly. And then we also have an internal playbook with lots of training courses in there. So I've highlighted some of the courses. So there's a partner sales training, which is 4 or 5 modules, so about 90 minutes in total that we would be asking you to invest in getting yourself trained up, followed by a relatively easy and straightforward multiple choice test so that you can get yourself certified. Same with the partner SE technical training. I think it's 4 courses there, followed by the certification test as well. And then there's videos such as co-branding of assets or getting started, deal registration. So there's a lot of value in the partner portal that that we are offering to you should you come on board as a partner. And then finally, from my perspective, why partner with Adaptiv Networks? Really just to summarize everything that I've been talking about here. Well, firstly, there's the differentiation, the fact that this is designed specifically for small and medium managed service partners to offer to their small and medium customers. And that's a differentiator against pretty much every other SD-WAN solution in the marketplace. It's going to give you a revenue multiplier because it's going to be an easy upsell or add-on to the services that you are already selling. You have the option to white label it as your own managed service. You know, we're not proud. We're not saying it has to be Adaptiv Networks at the top of the page. You can white label this under your own company branding. I mentioned that we target that customers tend to be less than 1,000 employees. We only sell it indirectly. We do not have our own sales team. So you're not going to come into conflict with Adaptiv salespeople trying to take a deal directly. We only go indirectly through partners. I've talked about the training that we offer. I've talked about the fact that it's as applicable to single site organizations as it is for multi-site organizations. And we have these multiple work from home options dependent upon need, budget, and seniority level of the employee. And finally, what I would say that our low prices equals short sales cycles for you, equals minimal sales effort, and therefore volume business, which I think is critical for everybody in the SME business. And with that, John, if I may, I'll hand back to you to talk a little bit more about what Nuvola can offer.
Lovely, thank you, Adrian, and I hope that information was of value to you. So why partner with Nuvola and Adaptiv Networks? Well, we can offer you pre-sale support, so we're absolutely here to assist you with any opportunity. So if there's any customers that you think that can benefit from this solution, please come to us and we can offer you pre-sale support. We're flexible because we're a relatively small distributor. We can offer you lots of different pricing models depending on your customer situation. We can help you with the hardware inventory and management, so we can act as the MSP if you require. And in addition to Adaptiv's marketing capabilities, we can absolutely assist you. We've got a marketing department that can help you uncover opportunities within your customer base. We'd offer you first-line technical support. And as said earlier, we've come from being a services organization, so we've absolutely got professional services that will help you set up and deploy any Adaptiv solution for your customers. And then really as a wider business, we've got dedicated teams focused on all our vendors and different technologies, and we can provide you with end-to-end UCaaS and CCaaS solutions. So we look forward to working with you. Thank you. Adrian, are we moving on to the demo now?
We are, yes. I just need to get the slide is frozen again for me, so just give me a second. No, I can't get it to page down. So look, we're going to move on to the demonstration now. So I'll hand over the control to Tony so that he can go through his demo. So bear with me, Tony. I'm just going to pass presentation control to you.
Okay, good morning everyone. It's Tony here, Tony Coombs. I'm a technical consultant with Nuvola, and I've been supporting the Adaptiv solution now for a few months now, and in fact I use it actually at home, and I wanted to show you this quick demo today. We've only got a few minutes, but basically what I have here is the hopefully you can see my screen. We've got the Adaptiv solution working from my home office here. So I have an E40 down here. I've got two broadband links. Actually, they're both 4G because where I'm based, we don't have a particularly good fiber or DSL connection at the moment. And basically, what I've set up here is all of my business as well as my home residential traffic is all routed by the E40. And because of that, it gives me now the ability to prioritize certain traffic. So obviously things like my the business critical traffic, the voice video, the conferencing solutions are all prioritized by the E40 and are routed directly to the Adaptiv core here, where they break out. So the cloud technology, the cloud solutions such as RingCentral, 8x8, they get routed via the Adaptiv core, and from here to my home office, we've got quality of service. We're actually monitoring the flows, we're monitoring the links, and we're actually also measuring the quality of experience on those links, which I'll show you in a few minutes. And then the low priority traffic, you know, my kids at home watching Netflix or gaming on their PlayStation, that traffic gets broken out locally at the internet and is not prioritized. So it means that I've actually got guaranteed traffic, or in fact guaranteed bandwidth for my business applications. And all of this is managed through the Adaptiv Cloud. So I'll show you that now, actually, the Adaptiv Cloud. So hopefully you can see this now. This is the web portal, and basically what I'm showing you here is the status of my my CPE device, my appliance at the moment as we speak. You know, you've got some basic information about, you know, the device uptime, that sort of thing, how much bandwidth is being utilized over the last 5 minutes, and then you've got the status of the links here. So you've got my primary link and my secondary link, how much bandwidth is being utilized, the rate limit bandwidth. This is what Adrian was mentioning earlier on. When we first condition the lines, we measure the lines to get the peak performance that gives the best bandwidth for your applications. And once we've done that, we rate limit to within that bandwidth limit to ensure that we get the best performance. And then finally, we've also got some reserve bandwidth, which is for the mission critical traffic. So this is the bandwidth which is allocated specifically for 8x8, RingCentral, my VPN traffic into the corporate network, that sort of thing. And anything out above that is used for the best effort internet traffic. And then down here, this is just showing you the monitoring that takes place from the cloud. So we're looking at the quality of experience over a period of time. So this is an aggregated view of both my links, and you can see as I move along over the time chart, you can see what the quality of experience was, what was the jitter, and what was the latency. And the nice thing about this is that you can actually go back in time. So I can go back to the last 4 hours, for example, and that will refresh in a second. There you go. And so you can see what happened for, between that 4-hour window, or in fact, we could go back 24 hours or even 30 days. And so what this does is if your customer is complaining that they were having some performance issues, maybe last Friday evening, you can go back and you can actually see what the quality of experience was at that time. And then you can actually also, by the way, you can also break it down to individual links. So this is the aggregated view, okay? This is link 1, my primary link. So you can see there's some peaks and troughs where jitter started increasing at certain times. And we can also see that for link 2 as well. And we can also, by the way, monitor certain websites as well. So if there's a particular cloud service, you can actually measure the quality experience to that cloud service as well. So with that, let me just minimize this. We can do separate demos if you like of the full cloud service if you like, individually. But I just wanted to show you this. This is my E40 down here. Hello. Just to show you the size of it, here's a small Pepsi can. Okay, so it's not particularly big. And what we've got here is we've got the status link. So we've got the LAN link and we've got 2 WAN links linking away there. And I've also got some ping testing going on in the background. Now, just to show you how good this is, if I pull this link, we might lose a ping packet, but you can still see me, you can still hear me. I don't think there was any glitch. Hopefully there wasn't any glitch in the quality of my display of my screen to you, but it just shows you how quick the system is for recovery, which makes it pretty much unbreakable. It's an unbreakable solution, ideal for the home office or for the remote offices, as Adrian was explaining earlier on. So with that, that was my brief demo. We can do individual demos, like I said. Just contact us later and we can organize that for you and we can go into more details. I'm now going to pass back to, where are we? I'm going to pass back to, I can't see the control, pass back. John, can you take control? I've lost.
Well, I think there was just a final slide, wasn't there? Really, okay. I think that really showed how using the E140 box with a pair of links can absolutely provide the unbreakable internet that Adaptiv promise. I think there were a couple of questions that we had during the presentation, which I answered. There's a final question here. So what can you do when the internet is not provided with an SLA? Well, I guess if I'm understanding that correctly, if you've got a residential or a business broadband connection that doesn't have an SLA, but you can have a backup link via 4G, for example, or 5G, then really what the Adaptiv box is doing is providing you with that level of SLA, really. So yeah, I suppose it's smoothing the connectivity issues. But I hope that everyone found that of interest. It's certainly a great product, and clearly, if you're interested in selling Adaptiv Networks, please contact myself,jallen@nuvoladistribution.com, or visit us at our website, nuvoladistribution.com. and we'd be happy to assist you. You know, as I say, we're here to help you with any opportunity. You know, bring that to us.
John, if I may, I would just like to add to the answer that you gave about the SLAs on an internet link.
Of course, yeah, far away.
Yeah. So, you know, the internet underlay link, it doesn't matter what their SLAs are, because with an SD-WAN solution, we didn't go into this because it gets a bit technical, but with an SD-WAN solution, we create basically a virtual tunnel over the top of the links. So we're not actually worried about the SLAs on the physical links themselves, because it's the traffic is passing through this overlay virtualized tunnel, and that is what is managing and controlling the performance, reliability, speed, etc. of the solution. So yeah, it doesn't matter if you've got internet links, you know, hardwired internet links that don't have an SLA on them.
Perfect. Well, I think
any other questions, John, or was that it?
That seems to be it at the moment.
Okay.
I can't see any more. Look, I'd like to, you know, thank everyone for attending. Thank you for your time, and you know, be good to speak to you about any opportunities that you have. Thank you all for attending.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.